Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today we're going to play around with a Palomar TX-100 amplifier. I don't know a thing about this thing. Let's go figure it out together. What is this dirty old beast? Well, my buddy Vern Six gave me this thing here, and it is a Palomar TX-100 broadband 3 through 30 megahertz solid state bilinear amplifier. And the old boys used to use this with CB back in the day. We've got an on-off switch, we've got a preamp, and we've got an SSB AM switch, as well as a couple of different lights. And then on the back side of it, we've got an in and an out port, and we got a power connection, and this power connection has seen some better days. So we're gonna try and figure out what we can do with it. First off, there is some different color wire here. This is black and this is blue, but it's hard to tell because of how dirty this thing is. This thing probably lived its life in an old pickup truck for a while. Let's pull this off, because I don't trust stuff like this when I see it, unless I did it myself, and I didn't do it. Oh, it's been soldered. Nice. Pull this other one off and see what we got. Is this just black wire extended to black wire? I'm looking at the manual on the computer over here. I'll show it to you in a second. Yep, this one here has also been soldered up. And it says, pay attention to polarity. Well, if you gave me colored wires instead of just black and black coming out of this thing, I could very easily pay attention to wiring polarity. But I'm gonna guess this one with the fuse is the one with the positive power going through it, and this one without is the one without. So step one is I gotta cut these wires here so I don't harm myself. And I'm probably gonna replace them anyway. But now we got some trash pile going. And then if we get this thing working, I'm gonna have to clean it up and see what we can do with it. But this thing is supposed to take 3 watts of drive in, this is the 100 model, and get 100 watts out. So we've got a couple of QRP rigs that we can test it out. And it runs 3 through 30, so 80, 60, 40. This is actually gonna go from 80 all the way up to 10 meters. This ought to be pretty sweet. And then on the bottom, it's got this massive heat sink. So that's pretty special right there. All right, let's get our screwdriver out and get this thing opened up and see what it looks like inside. Is it all a bunch of melted goo, or is it gonna be impressive and work for you? And this thing is so old that it uses flathead screws. Is there a copyright date? There's no copyright date. I can't even tell you when this thing was made, but it does look a little old. Oh, baby. Oh, that's not terrible looking. PEC 7D, it looks like it was hand drawn out with the traces. They spared no expense on this. We got a little relay here. We have AMF. AMF made bowling balls, they made motorcycles. Apparently they make amplifier parts, just discrete componentry. And our pills in here are CTC, can't read all of that, TX-53DD, AID42, is that right? CTC TX-5300 A1042. And this 7610 here might actually be a date code, the 10th week of 1976. That's actually pretty plausible. And there's our power wire and our ground wire. Huh, so that wire is supposed to be blue. Excellent. And the power wire goes right onto the on-off switch. Full bench power right at your fingertips. Love it. All right, let me get some power poles on this thing so I can get it connected up and running. Because it doesn't look bad. Looks like it should be able just to fire right up. There we go. Both of them are snapped in pretty good. Nice. This might just be a spectacular blaze of glory. I'm not 100% sure, but what we have is no radio plugged in, just so we can start off on a clean slate. We have it plugged into the power meter here, and the power meter then goes into the dummy load, and we are all powered by the Astron RS35A. Let me get around the front. All right, we have all of the switches in the down position for off on power, off on preamp, and AM on radio, because your choice is AM or sideband. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the power supply. You'll hear that big click. See the meter on the right over here light up, and we are pretty quiet so far. Let's turn her on. Power light came on, nice. Nothing's happening, nice. Preamp light comes on, nothing changes, good. Let's turn it off. Let's get a radio plugged in. We have the Zygo X6200 plugged in. I'm gonna turn the volume down here a bit. And we have our transmit power set to, I'm gonna start it off at the low end. I'm gonna put in half a watt. And we are at 28. Let's go somewhere up in the middle of the band. And let's transmit. All right, 1 watt out. Audio, audio, audio. Interesting. The power goes down with some modulation. Instead of going up, it swings in the wrong direction. Now let's turn the amplifier on. So we were at 1 watt and then down to 0.9, I think it was, when we were transmitting without the amp. Audio, audio. So dead key is 3. I saw 3, now we're 1.2. Audio, audio. Okay, let's turn some power up. Let's go to 1 watt in, 1 watt drive. Audio, audio. Nice. 4, let's go up to 3. Let's do our maximum drive. Audio, audio. All right, 22, not too bad. Let's try a little lower band. This thing can go from 3 through 30. Let's try 3 AM, 3 watts, 3 megahertz AM. Audio, audio. Oh, she's looking a little tired there. Let's try SSB, lower sideband. Lower sideband, lower sideband, lower sideband. Not a whole lot of drive on this thing. She's looking a little tired. Y'all didn't see any power get out of there, so we gotta get some power out of this thing, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do to begin with. We're looking top down at the amp again, and there is a variable capacitor on the input, but not on the output. There should have been one on the output, but there isn't. This will let me tune the input SWR. And with the amp off, we're at almost 2-to-1 SWR. So right now, you can see switches are in the down position, and none of the lights are on. And if we look over here, you can see this little thing right here is your SWR meter. And it's showing 2-to-1. The blue bars come up to the 2. I can't really show you a bigger meter because it's a small screen, but we need to change that. Well, turning that capacitor in all different directions didn't really make much change, so that could be problem number 1. So here's something interesting. I switched over to 40 meters, and when I key down, we get some life. Audio, audio, and it still chokes up with modulation, but we got some life out of it. And I just ran through all the bands and ended up on 10 meters, which is where we started, 28 megahertz. And keys up and we're getting 64 out. Audio, audio. Interesting. I just turned the amplifier off and we're at 2.5. Yeah, we're at 2.5 without the amplifier on. Audio, audio. Fire back on. Poof. This right here is pretty sexy. This is the relay, and when you click the PTT on the radio, this relay fires off. You can see inside of it because it's all clear. That's that big click. That's pretty cool. Awesome. So I have seen a couple of different models of this. This is an input adjustable capacitor. There should be another one over here depending on what model you have. I've seen them where they have a single resistor on top of the pills here, or a double resistor like this. So with the double, it'll be AB biased, and then there's single, and I think I've seen some that have none. I've also seen them where there is a big old resistor sitting right here, a big old ceramic resistor sitting right here, almost like it's got a built-in dummy load kind of thing. But there is a lot of cool stuff going on in here for 1970s tech. This is one of the reasons why radio equipment holds its value so well, because it always works, or it's always able to be fixed to be working. Newer radio tech may work better, older radio tech may work better, but it all works. You can get your old boat anchor and still get on the air, just like I can get this old amp and still get on the air. So we're back on 10 meters here. Turn the amp on, and we're starting to get some life out of it now that we've been playing with it for a little bit. Another thing that I have seen different is this one has a black face, and a lot of the ones I have seen have a white face on them. And then some people put blue LEDs in instead of red LEDs, but blue LEDs weren't invented when this thing was brand new. Oh, and now we're getting the RF out light working too. Audio, audio. And we're still going down in power. Woo! Having some fun. We're still going down in power when we're transmitting, so we key up and we get 49, 50 watts. Audio, audio. And then when we modulate, we get a little bit lower power out. So, one of the things I've seen these boys do, and I don't recommend doing this because the manual says 3 watts input only. Let's do 4 watts. Oh, 68, 69, 5 watts. Oh, I saw 90 in the beginning, 76. 6 watts. Oh, we're getting close to that 100. I've seen these things go up to 200 watts out. 7. 8. And that's as high as I can go, 90 watts. I'm gonna go back down to 3 and be safe. And let's try 80 again and see if we've gotten enough cleaning on that. Yeah, 80 is still not happy on here. This is actually really slick. This is the documentation that you get with this, and I am pretty sure it is only these 2 pages. This is Palomar TX-100 and TX-75 solid-state bilinear amplifier, 7 megahertz to 30 megahertz. Oh, that's why. See, I've been testing this thing on 80 because on the front panel of the thing it says 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz. This thing isn't supposed to run on 80. Weird. So output power TX-100, 100 watts RMS into a 50 ohm with 3 watts RF drive. That is false. But that could just be tired electronics, or it could just be a whole bunch of other factors, because it did start getting a little bit better. All right, input power. Transmitting 13.6 volts at 17 amps, okay. Standby 13.6 at 20 milliamps, okay. Description, stable solid-state circuitry provides a minimum transmitted power gain of 33 times for the TX-100 and 25 times for the TX-75. No tuning required. Will work on any signal of 1 watt or more. Automatic switching using RF power from your transceiver. No internal connections are required to your existing equipment. Long life, solid state, light emitting diodes. They all work, so can't argue with that. Silicone transistor preselector provides an approximate gain of 3 decibels on received signal. Okay, I think that's that AMF chip inside. 2 TX-100 or TX-75, depending on which model you get. 3 LEDs. Installation, we did that. Reversing polarity may not, but it may cause damage. Do not use more than 4 watts drive. Oops, I put in 8. This will shorten the RF transistor's life and severely distort the quality of the transmitted signal. And then it comes up with a pretty nice little schematic. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going on. You could probably draw this out just by looking at it, but here is the schematic of this thing. And at the bottom of this page, there is a note, model TX-100 and TX-75 linear amplifier. And so right here is where you would make that change if you wanted to go to the 75. You put in the TX-75 transistors here, or you put in the TX-100s here. And mine has the TX-100s. So there's the Palomar TX-100. It's interesting that it says 3 through 30 on the front, but really is 7 through 30 according to the instructions and our benchtop testing. A lot of fun to play with. And one thing you didn't notice inside the box was there's no output filters. Palomar's a really respected name in the industry around these parts. Everybody I talk to says Palomar makes great stuff and relies on Palomar. But it looks like Palomar had the same kind of rocky start way back in the day, just like Zygu's got their rocky start today, which is kind of interesting that I just paired up the 6200. The 6200 just happened to be sitting on the bench and was the radio nearest to my hands when I was doing the job. And it did the job, it did the thing. Pretty cool little amplifier. I don't think this thing cares what band you put it on. Anything within that 7 to 30 range is gonna work fine. So maybe a little 11 meter action. Get weird with it, folks. More information on all of this stuff will be down in the description below. And if you see one of these things, don't hesitate to get it, because it'll probably be $30, $40 worth of fun. I don't even know how much these things cost. There's a video right over here I think you might enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.